Hi guys, it is Shelly and I am here. I'm going to show you how to make the Thai I'm going to show you how to make the Thai turkey burgers from the recipe that I got on Pinterest. I'll go ahead and show you the recipe. This is what it looked like, and I said, "Oh, that looks good." So I can read to you first the recipe list. I can show it to you also. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Okay. Alright. So it breaks it down into the things that you need: ingredients for the burger themselves, ingredients for the sauce, and ingredients for the coleslaw. Not sure. Yeah, there you go. You should be able to see that. And then the ingredients for the salsa, or the slaw. I don't know why I said salsa. Okay, so I'll tell you, the first thing that I do is I assemble all of the items. I like to cut and chop everything first. The only thing I don't have over here, one second, is the garlic. And here that is. So I'm going to bring you over here and I will give you a little tour. Okay, we have one whole carrot. It is like that. Behind that we have green onions, we have cilantro, we have ginger, garlic, Napa cabbage. I already made this batch. I already made a batch for dinner for us tonight. I wanted to practice it before I came on here and did it for you guys. PB2 peanut butter, and let's see, on the right we have the Korean sweet and spicy sauce, soy sauce, rice vinegar, lemons. I didn't have a lime and I forgot to buy one at the store, so I used lemons I already had, and then some coconut milk, and those are all of the ingredients that we're going to be using right there. So first we're going to get everything ready to make the sauce, because you have to cook the sauce for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead, and you need 2 cloves of garlic, and you just peel them real quick. Chop them up, mince them real good. Also, I know they sell like the pre-chopped garlic, so you could use that if you want. I just always prefer the fresh garlic. I think it tastes a lot better. It adds more flavor than if you use the pre-done one. Okay, so there's the garlic, and what you're going to do first is measure out all the ingredients for the sauce. So I have my measuring cup right here, and you need a half a cup. Well, the recipe calls for half a cup of the sweet chili sauce. I do not use a half a cup. I use, when I made it earlier, I used 1/3 of a cup. And this time I'm going to just use 1/4 of a cup, because I think I had too much sauce. So you get your little measuring cup out. That is 1/4 of a cup of the sweet chili sauce. You need another 1/4 of a cup of the rice vinegar. A 1/4 of a cup of the coconut milk, which I have already opened this can because I used it earlier. And do another 1/4 of a cup. Of that. The recipe also calls for 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, but I used stevia instead, so I hope that didn't take away from any of the integrity of the recipe, but I just did that for less sugar, because I'm sure the sweet chili sauce already has plenty of sugar. And I just did like a heaping, I think I did 2 tablespoons, yeah. So there's 1, tablespoon of stevia. And I buy this bag because I like to bake and cook, and so it's easier to just do it like that, and then I don't have to like open all the packets repeatedly. And then you need to put in the garlic, 2 cloves of garlic that you chopped, that we chopped together. Alright, and then this is where I use the PB2. In the recipe it says to use 1 tablespoon of creamy peanut butter, but what I did was, well, 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. So what I did is I did 1, 2, 3 is 1 tablespoon, but later on after I tasted it, I thought it could use more peanut butter, so I put another one in there. So just know that I used 1 tablespoon plus a teaspoon, but the recipe only called for 1 tablespoon. I also didn't add any water with this. Since there's already liquid, I didn't feel the need to add water to mix it with it. I just used the powder itself. Okay, and then after the peanut butter, you add ginger, which I apologize, I did not already prep this. So let me do that really quick. 1 teaspoon of grated ginger, which ginger is also something that comes in like pre-grated or powdered form. So I'm sure if you wanted to do that, you could substitute that instead of having to grate it. But really, it's really easy to just do it raw or to grate it from scratch. So the ginger, and then I believe we are on to the juice of 1 lime. I said I did not have a lime, so I used lemons that I had. I have oops, I dropped the lemon. I have a lemon tree in my yard, so I just was like, whatever, I'm not buying old limes. So I did 3 slices. I did the other 3 slices for the first batch that I made for dinner tonight. Okay. Let me wipe my hands off. Alright, and then after the lemon juice, we need 1 teaspoon, or half a tablespoon, which is 1.5 teaspoons. So, just 1 of soy sauce. So there's 1 teaspoon, and then 1/2 of a teaspoon of soy sauce. And now you just mix it together. I use a whisk. You don't have to use a whisk, but you know, this is the one that I'm using. Okay. And now what you're going to do is pour. You want to save some of this because you're going to put some of it in the burger, the mix for the burger itself. So you're going to save a 1/4 cup of it. And I have a little 1/4 cup measuring thing here. So there is a 1/4 cup, and I'm going to set that aside. So for the rest of it, you're going to put it in a pan. And what I did was I put it on, I have 8 to 2 on my thing, whereas 6 is almost a little bit hotter than medium. And so I put it on medium. And then you go ahead and you pour the rest in. Get my spatula. And it kind of smells spicy right now. So what you do is you put it in here and you cook it. And it says to bring it to a boil, like a really low boil, and then turn it down to simmer and let it simmer for 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. And you just have to watch it because it could, you know, burn a little bit because there is some sugar in there. Okay, and now we're going to prep all the other ingredients to put inside of the turkey burger. So we have 2 green onions, and I rinsed them earlier. And now we're just gonna chop them up. I just go through and try to make them a little bit smaller. Set those off to the side. And earlier I had put a carrot in my food processor to grate it up. I didn't have enough for both batches, so I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to cut off the ends of this carrot, and then I'm going to put it in my food processor. Okay, this is my food processor. You just put the carrot in there and turn it on. Voila! Make sure it's off. There we go, opening it. A little piece of carrot left. Take this out. And then you have olive. I'm sure that you could, they're just like little, you know, tiny matchsticks. I think a good idea if you didn't have a food processor would be to just use your shredder or peeler, to use your peeler and just peel the carrot all the way, and then maybe you can cut it up further after that. You need a 1/4 of a cup of the carrot. Let me get my other one. So I have 1/4 cup measuring, and that's full. So you use 1/4 cup of the carrot. You need the rest of the carrot. You need the rest of the carrot for the coleslaw that you'll make afterwards, so just set it aside. And then I go through and just chop it a little bit more so that you don't have like really stringy pieces inside of your burger. Okay. This sauce over here is boiling. So you just stir it. And I'll show you what the boil looks like. Looks like that. Okay, and I turn the heat down to simmer almost to low on my oven or my stove. And then just keep stirring for a couple of minutes. And it's supposed to get a little bit thicker than it was. It doesn't get super thick, but it does reduce some. And I know that I'm doing some of these things all at the same time, but if you wanted to, if you didn't feel comfortable doing them all at the same time, you could definitely do them one step at a time. So now we're going to go ahead and mix the turkey meat for the burgers. So you grab a bowl. And I left my meat in the fridge until it was time to use it because I didn't want it to sit out. And also, this is like prepackaged turkey meat. It's how I have to buy it at the store that I shop at, as well as Publix or things like that. But I know that Whole Foods does have it in the deli where they like grind it fresh themselves. I don't have a Whole Foods within like 30 minutes of me. 30 to 40 minutes, so I don't go there. I used to go there when it was closer, when I lived somewhere else, but I don't anymore. Okay, so you have the turkey meat, and you need to do a 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. Sorry, I just have my shaker. Okay, so there's 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and then you're going to add in the carrot and all of the green onion that we cut up, and then we have the sauce that we set to the side, and you're going to add, it says 2 to 3 tablespoons. And when I made it earlier, I just put the whole thing in. So that's what I'm doing for that. But I did go lighter on the dressing for the coleslaw. So I mixed this with my hands. I know some people don't like to mix it with your hands, but this is what it looks like in the bowl. And also, I'm going to move my sauce off of the heat now. So turned it off, turned it back, and mixed it a little. And it's a darker color now, and when I don't have turkey hands, I'll move the camera to show you. So mix, mix, mix. So the mixture, it does get, it is a little wet. The recipe does not address that. Well, I think it does. but it just says to like be careful. I think if you wanted to add like some breadcrumbs or something, you probably could. I didn't when I made them, but it was fine. That is all mixed up, and I'm going to go put this in the fridge so that it can like sit for a little while we finish cutting the things to make the coleslaw. For the coleslaw, I'm going to take the rest of the cabbage that I had, that I showed you before, and just slice it. I really love cabbage and all kinds of coleslaws, especially when they're Thai flavored and peanut. Okay, it doesn't, you know, have to be fancy. The cabbage, once you slice it, like on the bias, it basically turns into the little slivers. So you can cut it up as much or as little as you'd like. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in the bowl. Then I'm going to mix it all in later. And the recipe says for like 2 cups of cabbage. I have a little more than that, but I like to have extra. Okay, so there's the cabbage. And then we also need the cilantro. Which I know some people aren't used to cooking with fresh herbs and they might want to use like a dried one for this, but I really think it's important to use the fresh cilantro. It really adds a lot of flavor. I'm supposed to have half a cup. This is a 1 cup container, but I'm just going to fill it up halfway. So half a cup of cilantro, then a cup of carrots. So I just got that out of here. So I added in a cup of the carrots. And even before we put this sauce on, if you just look at it, it's like, you know, really beautiful. So there's that. You also can add peanuts in, chopped peanuts into here. I didn't have any and I didn't want to buy any, so I didn't put any chopped peanuts. But that was a personal choice, and you can put them in there if you'd like. Okay, now I'm going to put the sauce back into the cup so that I can use this pan to cook my burgers in. I only have one nonstick pan, and after cooking the first batch, I definitely know that I cannot use a stainless steel pan. So this is how a little bit darker. I don't know how good you can see that. The sauce got after we cooked it, and it reduced down a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and make the burger patties and cook some. Okay, and I put my stove to a little bit more than medium and use a tiny bit of olive oil. Okay, now let that get hot. And I have a pound of meat here, and so I was going to make, let's see, if I did four burgers, that's 4 ounces each, and I want to make them a little bit smaller than that. So I'm going to do 5 burgers. So there's one. And like I said before, it is a little wet, and so it will stick to your fingers, but it's not anything that's too hard to deal with. That's 2. By now the pan should be hot, and make sure you make them really thin, because just like ground beef, when you make the turkey burger, it will puff up, but it won't cook properly if it puffs up too much. So put one in. And 2. And 3. I'm going to wash my hands again so I can use the spatula. Okay, and you want to cook it on the one side for around 4 minutes. The recipe says until you see the edges of the turkey starting to get browned. And while that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and mix the coleslaw. So here we have the bowl with the coleslaw in it. And before we took the sauce and put it in here. And for this, really, it's all around, it's about like your personal preference for how much you want to use. So I would start with 2 or 3 spoonfuls, and then mix it up and see how you feel about that. It's not supposed to be a heavy dressing, it's just supposed to be like a coating. And for me personally, because this is the second batch that I'm making for leftovers for this week, I'm not going to put any more of the sauce on because I don't want it to get too wilty when I'm saving it. But I probably will put a little bit more on when I go to eat it. So there is the slaw, all made. That is done. We're still letting the burgers cook. A peek at them. I did have a problem when I made the first batch, making them a little too thick, so they didn't cook all the way through the center, but they were starting to brown a lot on the outside. So what I did was I took them out of the pan because it was going to burn on the outside, and I microwaved it for 30 seconds, and it still was really great, and it was still crispy from being in the pan. But this time I went ahead and made them a little thinner in hopes that I wouldn't have that issue. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and flip them now. And you will get a little brown on top. These ones are a little more brown than the ones I made last time. But it's because of the sauce inside of the turkey. It has sugar in it, so when you put it in a pan, it will start to caramelize. And I think that these ones are a little more burned. Okay, and these ones feel like they are done. So I'm going to take them off. And then I'm going to use my scale. I don't have a digital scale. This one I've had for a long time. And I hope to, I don't know, one day invest in a digital scale. But you can see on here it is 3 ounces. Which I think is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And they're each should be 3 ounces. And then I'll show you the way that I served it, which on the website, and I'll show you the way that I served it. On the website, it had like a traditional hamburger bun with it, and I did not eat it with a bun. I just put the slaw on it just like this. Do 1 on the plate, 1/4 cup, there's a 1/4 cup of the slaw on there, and I think it looks really pretty also. And there it is. Ta-da! I used 1/2 cup of the slaw because that's enough, but if you wanted to use less, that's fine. I also don't have any restriction at this point, so I eat like the full cup. Some people might not be able to eat the full cup, so there it is. There's the Thai turkey burger with slaw. Yum. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Okay, I also wanted to show you, I made the double batch, like I said, with 2 pounds of turkey. And these are the leftovers that it yielded after my fiance and I both ate 1 burger and probably half a cup of slaw. So I have 2 or 3 1-cup containers. They each have a burger and slaw in them. 2 burgers and the rest of the slaw, which we'll be leaving at home for this one here. Where is it? Here. This is what he's taking to work for lunch for a couple of days this week. And then we had 2 more left over that we'll keep at home and maybe have leftover for dinners if we don't want to cook one night. So altogether it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 extra burgers and slaw after we ate 2.